Welcome, my friends. My name is Colleen Freeland, and I'm the founder of Emotional Sobriety Coaching Incorporated. And today we are talking about the science behind Take It or Leave It. I'm going to explain why some women can just take it or leave it when it comes to alcohol. And you're going to walk away from this masterclass with a clear roadmap for how you can too. So I want to respect your time. Let's just dive right in. You've been watching other women for a while. And you've noticed that some women genuinely seem to be able to take it or leave it when they're drinking. You know exactly who I'm talking about. She's the woman at the dinner party with one glass of wine, one, and she forgets about it. She's talking, laughing, and there's the glass, half full, sitting on the counter, completely ignored. Meanwhile, you're wondering, are you going to finish that so I don't feel weird grabbing another drink? Then the host offers to top her off. Nah, she says, I'm good. And she looks like she means it. She's not counting. She's not having an internal negotiation about whether she should or shouldn't keep drinking. She just doesn't care about it. You, on the other hand, are secretly wishing that the host would just leave that bottle next to you. And when that woman wakes up on a Saturday morning, alcohol is the last thing on her mind. She goes to brunch and orders a coffee, not because she's being good, but because it doesn't occur to her to order anything else. In contrast, you wake up hungover because you kept drinking when you got home, and then you slept like shit, and now you are negotiating with an aggressively ambitious to-do list that you have no energy to tackle. And you've wondered, maybe your whole adult life, why you can't just be more like her. She makes social drinking look easy, like it's no big deal. Why is it harder for you to stop after one or two drinks? Why do you keep doing this to yourself? You're smart. You're successful. You can do hard things. You've built a career, raised kids, managed a household, handled crises that would break other people. But this is the one problem that you don't know how to solve. And of course, your brain wants to help you make sense of that. So it tells you stories. Maybe she's just a goody two-shoes, prim and proper, probably not much fun in bed. Maybe she didn't grow up around a bunch of drinkers like you did, or learn how to throw them back with a room full of men. Maybe her life isn't as stressful as yours. She's just more delicate, sheltered, and naive, which is how you adopted the belief, even if you've never said it out loud, that you're a real drinker, whatever that means. You're just not the type of person who can take it or leave it. And I'm here to tell you today that story that women who can stop after one or two are just fundamentally different than you are isn't true. Those women do not have more self-control. They didn't skate through childhood without ever getting their feelings hurt. They're not boring or uptight. Of course, there are some exceptions, but they have two things going for them that you don't have yet. And in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what those two things are and how to get them. But first, let me tell you how I know. I drank at least a bottle of wine every single night for about 15 years. And I wasn't chronically hungover. I had 4 kids, a full-time job, and a life that looked great from the outside. Sometimes I was just celebrating and having fun. Sometimes I was stressed and I needed to take the edge off. A lot of times I just wanted some quiet, some me time. And at some point in my early 30s, nightly drinking became my default. I stopped needing a reason to drink, like date night or girls' night out. I started needing a reason to not drink. Once I was done driving for the day, it was go time. And once that habit was firmly in place, it wasn't even that drinking made me feel so good. It was that not drinking felt bad. It had become like my medicine. And I had tried so many times to tell myself no, or even just to stop after one or two drinks. I just could never follow through. For the life of me, I couldn't resist. And every morning, I had the same conversation with myself. This has to stop. This is ridiculous. None of my friends were daily drinkers. What the actual fuck was wrong with me? But obsessing over the problem did not cure my cravings. It only made things worse. For years, I was secretly ashamed and frustrated and defeated. And I was completely confused as to why I had so much discipline all day long, and I just lost my shit at night. And now, I can genuinely take it or leave it. I'm not sober. I'm not in recovery. I don't follow any sort of program. I don't make rules or set limits for myself. Most nights, at least during the week, it doesn't even occur to me to pour a drink. And I can enjoy a glass of wine at dinner and literally have no desire to order a second one. I like switching to water because I prefer to fall asleep sober. And I don't even want to hang out anymore with people who drink heavily because I have no desire to keep up with them. I don't see myself as a drinker any more than I see myself as a cookie eater. When it's around, I enjoy it, but I don't organize my life around it. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love a well paired glass of wine with a nice meal, but it's just part of the full experience. I don't need it to relax or enjoy myself anymore. And that's what I want for you. Not rules and restrictions, not willpower and self control, freedom. The freedom that comes with being able to take it or leave it. So, what changed? I didn't become more disciplined. I didn't finally hate myself enough to change. I learned something. I learned something about my body and my nervous system that helped me to make sense of why I was reaching for wine in the first place. And then I learned how to actually apply that knowledge in real time. I went from knowing it in my head to knowing it in my body, like it became a habit. And that's what we're going to cover today. So let's start with why you can't just take it or leave it yet. And I want to be clear about something. The reason is not what you think. It's not because you're weak. It's not because you just love to drink or you love the taste or that you actually need it to sleep. It's not because you're an alcoholic or that something is fundamentally wrong with you. The reason, quite simply, is that your nervous system is dysregulated. Here's the simplest way I can explain it. Your nervous system has three states. Think of them like a traffic light. There's green light. You're calm, regulated, present. Your brain is fully online. You can think clearly, make good decisions, and follow through on your plans. You have access to your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that does the planning, reasoning, and controlling your impulses. This is where take it or leave it lives. When you're in green, alcohol is genuinely optional. And then there's yellow light. You're activated, stressed, your heart rate goes up, your shoulders tense, your jaw is clenched, and your mind starts racing. You're running on cortisol and adrenaline. This is your body's way of helping you handle challenges. And I want to be clear, it's not all bad. But when you're in yellow, you have less access to your prefrontal cortex. It's not completely offline, but your patience is thin. Your brain is focused on dealing with immediate problems, putting out the fires. And when you're stressed, it's more about survival mode than making thoughtful decisions or creatively designing long-term solutions. And then the red light of your nervous system is when you've hit the wall. You are officially overwhelmed. And that's not just mental, it's biological. Your nervous system has made an executive decision, a subconscious one, that you can't handle one more goddamn thing. And it downshifts into energy conservation mode, which is why you feel like you have no motivation to do anything that feels hard. You don't care because you can't care. You're out of fucks to give. You feel foggy and depleted and just checked out. Now, you still may be running on autopilot because you have to, but you're just going through the motions and doing the bare minimum. Your lights are on, but nobody is home. And your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that is logical, that's basically offline. You have literally exceeded your capacity to think clearly and rationally. And now you just want to escape. And your body starts looking for the fastest path to relief. And here's what that means for your drinking. When you're in green, you can decide if and how much you want to drink and actually follow through. The decision and the action match. If you decide, I'm not drinking tonight, you don't drink because you literally don't want to drink. It's easy. But when you're in yellow, it gets harder because you feel like you need to drink. You might have some access to your decision-making brain, but stress is eating up your bandwidth. You might be able to resist, but it takes a lot of effort because the promise of relief is very tempting. And when you're in red, your willpower is offline. Your nervous system is running the show and all bets are off. This is why morning you makes promises that evening you breaks. The three states of your nervous system are like three different versions of you. They each have different habits, different opinions, different beliefs, and different goals. Think about it. Morning you wakes up, maybe a little hungover, but ready to make it right. She wants to fix the problem, and so she makes a decision. That's it. I'm not drinking tonight. I'm done. Morning you means it. She's clear, she's determined, hopeful, ready for the challenge. But morning you, she's in green. She's at least somewhat rested. Her prefrontal cortex is online. Making the decision to not drink feels clear and obvious. She craves a sober evening and a good night's sleep. Then the day happens. Work stress, kid stress, relationship stress, the mental load of holding everything together. By 5, 6, 7 p.m., she's been running on stress hormones for 10 plus hours. Evening you is in yellow, maybe red. She is out of fucks to give. Evening you literally doesn't have access to the same brain, the same energy and motivation that morning you has when she made the decision to take the night off. So when evening you walks through the door and sees the wine, saying no is about as easy as trying not to cough. Evening you doesn't have the capacity to say no because she needs and wants and deserves to feel better after the big fucking day she's had. I want to say this simply and clearly. In the evening, when your nervous system is depleted, you're not making a conscious choice to drink. Drinking is a knee-jerk nervous system response. Your body is in overwhelm. It's been running on stress hormones all day, and it needs relief now. Not in an hour, not after you meditate or take a bath. Now. And alcohol is the fastest off switch that your brain has ever found. It works in minutes. It requires no effort. It's right there. So your body doesn't wait for permission. It just issues a command. Get me some goddamn relief. And you obey, not because you're weak, but because your nervous system has hijacked your decision-making brain. This is why willpower usually doesn't work. You can't think your way out of a biological circuit breaker. It's like trying to talk yourself out of having to go to the bathroom. You can delay, you can fight it, but at some point, you gotta go. So let's go back to those women who can take it or leave it. What's different about them? It's not that they have more willpower. They just spend more time in green, which means their nervous systems aren't being consumed by a dumpster fire of stress hormones. They're not arriving home at night completely spent from their day because they're not operating in survival mode. This is where it gets really confusing for high achieving women who have gotten to where they are by hustling and grinding. You're fueling yourself on adrenaline and cortisol and stress and caffeine. You're going to have to switch your fuel source. It's a lot like exercise. You know, the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. When you are in that moderate zone, you might be sweating and working hard, but you can still talk. Your body is using oxygen to burn glucose, and you can sustain that for hours. That's aerobic. That's also the green zone. But when you push past that threshold, when you can't carry on a conversation anymore because you are working too hard, your body has run out of oxygen and has switched to a backup fuel source. You start breaking down glucose without the oxygen, which produces the lactic acid. That's why your muscles burn. That's why you can only sustain a sprint for so long. Your body is burning a dirty fuel, and it's great for short periods of time, but it's not sustainable. That's anaerobic respiration. And that's also exactly what's happening when you are in the yellow and the red zones. Now, here's the connection. Many professional, successful women live their entire lives in somewhat of an anaerobic state. You're sprinting through your day, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Your adrenals are producing adrenaline and cortisol the same way your muscles produce lactic acid during high intensity exercise. And just like you can't sprint for long distances, you can't live in survival mode for long periods of time. That's why by evening, you've hit the wall. Your body is flooded with metabolic waste, stress hormones with nowhere to go. And your body is desperate for a recovery. And what's the fastest recovery tool that you've got? Wine. The women who can take it or leave it aren't sprinting through their days. They're moving at a pace they can sustain. They're operating aerobically, calm enough to think clearly, regulated enough to handle stress without burning out. They get to the end of their day and they're tired, sure, but they're not depleted. They don't need alcohol to recover because their body isn't in a crisis. So when I say that you need to switch your fuel source, I mean it literally. You need to stop running your life on stress hormones and start running your life from a state of regulation. It's the same body, you're the same woman, but it's a completely different fuel system. And the good news is that when you make that switch, alcohol stops being necessary because your body isn't desperate for relief every night. So that's the difference between you and somebody who can just take it or leave it. Not discipline, not willpower, not upbringing, not genetics, a regulated nervous system. So the question you need to ask isn't, how do I drink less? The question is, how do I spend more time in green? How do I regulate my nervous system so that I'm not drinking like somebody who is in crisis mode? How do I build a body that knows how to settle down without alcohol? That's the real question. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Now, if you are watching this and something has already clicked, you may not need more convincing. You know you're overwhelmed and you know you need support and you're ready to just talk to somebody about what that looks like. If that's you, respect your own clarity. The link to book a discovery call is right below this video. You can have a private conversation with somebody on my team. And this is not a sales pitch. It's a real assessment of where you're at and where you need to be. For everybody else, just keep watching because I'm about to show you the exact pathway, what you will actually need to do, what the transformation will look like at 2 weeks, 6 weeks, and 8 months. If you want to see the roadmap before you decide anything, the next 15 minutes will give you that. It is possible to rise above this problem, but to become someone who can genuinely take it or leave it, you need two things, not one, two. And most women who try to fix this on their own only have one of them, which is why they stay stuck. The first thing that you need is a body that doesn't need alcohol to escape your stress. Right now, by the time evening rolls around, your nervous system is so depleted that it starts running the show. It needs relief and it needs it now. You're not drinking because you love alcohol. You're drinking because you want relief from all the pressure that you're feeling. Just imagine what would be different if that pressure wasn't there. What if you got to the end of your day and you feel tired, but in a good way, in that cozy, I can't wait to sink into my nest sort of way, instead of that desperate, I can't take it anymore way. What if your body knew how to move through intense and challenging situations without having an internal stress response? What if you could live your life and handle your shit, excel at your goals without feeling like you are running a grueling, never-ending marathon? That's what I call capacity. It's a nervous system that has room, that isn't running on empty. It has the ability to handle the hard moments without hitting the wall. Capacity is why some women can take it or leave it. They're not more disciplined. They're less depleted. When you build your capacity, you don't need alcohol to escape the pressure. Your body has learned to release it as you go. And the second thing you need is knowing what to actually do when you're in real drinking situations. Because even when you have capacity, even when your nervous system isn't in crisis mode, you still have years of a habit to contend with. Drinking is programmed into your autopilot. That's why thinking that you'll just have one glass still turns into the entire bottle. That's also why when you are busy and distracted at a party with people you normally match drink for drink, it feels so hard to pace yourself. It's not that pacing yourself is actually hard. It's that pacing yourself isn't a habit yet. You need real strategies that can interrupt the flow of your habits, not just when you're drinking, but also when you're processing the morning after. Because mistakes will happen. They have to. That's how you figure out what works and what doesn't work, what you really want and what you don't want. But that objective reflection can't happen if you get sucked into the shame spiral. My approach will seem very counterintuitive, but the first goal you need to set is not to avoid your hangovers. It's to learn from them because pain is a valuable source of information. And you need to build a highly specialized skill set that allows you to extract the information from your pain so that you can move forward with not only dignity, but also confidence and motivation that you need so that you can do better next time. Let me explain something. The only reason that smart, intelligent women get caught in this trap is because they're too embarrassed and too perfectionistic to focus on just moving the needle. So this isn't a you problem, my friends. It's just a skill deficit. And building capacity is the inside work. That's how you change your relationship with yourself. Building skills is the outside work. That's how you change your relationship with alcohol. Capacity and skills. You need both. And here's why. Capacity without skills means that you've done the nervous system work. Maybe you meditate or you do breath work on a regular basis. You've gotten more regulated. You've expanded your window of tolerance, but you don't know what to do with it yet because you still have to deal with the habit of drinking. You have the internal resources to make better choices, but you don't have the neural pathways for alternatives. You don't actually know what you would be doing and thinking about if you weren't so focused on alcohol. It's like a cognitive blind spot. Plus, there's the fact that you still believe that drinking less or telling yourself no is going to be hard. That way of thinking is going to continue to cause you stress and anxiety. It can be very frustrating. You're going to have to learn to think differently about all of this. And then skills without capacity means that you are thinking differently. You have the tools. You've listened to the mindset podcasts. You've read the self-help books. You've got some solid strategies. You've built some new neural pathways. But when the moment comes, you don't have access to those. You actually do know what to do, but you're still not doing it because when your nervous system is dysregulated, your prefrontal cortex is offline, which is why you need both, building the capacity and building the skills. That's when everything changes. You have the internal capacity to stay regulated and you have the practical skills to navigate real life situations. That's the complete foundation. That's how you become somebody who can genuinely take it or leave it. All of the other approaches to the proverbial drinking problem that are out there focus on one or the other. Traditional sobriety programs focus on behavior, rules, accountability, avoiding triggers, but they don't address the nervous system. So you're just white knuckling through life in a dysregulated body. And more often than not, you're either going to cave in and go back to drinking, or you're going to gain a bunch of weight because you've shifted from alcohol to comfort food as your source of relief. Alternatively, cognitive behavioral therapy and mindset programs may give you information about behavior change. You may understand the problem intellectually, but understanding doesn't change the state of your nervous system. You can't think your way to regulation. Maybe you've even tried red light therapy or cold water plunges or GABA and kava supplements. Those are great for supporting your capacity. But if you don't know what to do in actual drinking situations, you're still going to be stuck when the moment comes to make a better decision. You need both pieces, capacity and skills, the inside work and the outside work. So, what do you actually do about this? Well, you stop seeing this as a willpower problem. Over drinking is not a form of self-indulgence. It's a symptom of self-neglect. You have to give more to yourself before you can expect more from yourself. This is about you learning how to set yourself up for success instead of sending your exhausted self into the same damn situation and expecting a different outcome. You need to do two things. Build your capacity and build your skills. Capacity is the inside work. It's teaching your nervous system new ways to regulate so you no longer need alcohol the way you used to. Skills are the outside work, learning what to actually do in real drinking situations so that you're not helpless when the urge hits. Most approaches give you one or the other, and that's why they don't stick. I'm going to give you both. But first, let me show you what the full pathway looks like. Having worked with thousands of women who want to reduce their drinking, I've seen it all. And that's how I was able to create a roadmap of the process for transforming into the version of you who can just take or leave it. I call this the RISE framework because you're literally going to rise above this problem once and for all. RISE has 4 distinct phases: recognize, integrate, strategize, and embodiment. So the first phase is recognize. This is where it starts. You begin to see the patterns in your stress response, not just when you're drinking, but throughout the day, throughout your whole entire life. You learn to notice what's happening in your body. And at first, you will be shocked by how much stress you're internalizing. But then you start to realize that you're not a victim because you're learning how to work with your nervous system instead of against it. You finally have an epiphany. Oh my God, this isn't a willpower problem. This isn't even about the alcohol. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. The shame and the frustration will begin to lift because while you can't change a habit overnight, it's programmed into your nervous system. When you see that this is simply a matter of biology, you stop blaming yourself It all starts to make sense. The second phase is the integration phase. This is where you learn to feel what you've been numbing, not all at once, gently, one moment at a time. You're building the capacity to sit with discomfort without being consumed by it. You start practicing body based regulation, real 2-minute somatic tools that actually affect your nervous system in real time. This is where women start saying, something is different. I can't explain it yet, but I can feel it. The third phase is strategy. This is where you learn what to do in real life situations: the party, the stressful Tuesday, the vacation, the morning after. You build an actual toolkit, not willpower, not rules, but real skills for staying present, processing an urge, and learning from every experience so that you feel like you're happening to life instead of life just happening to you. The fourth phase is embodiment. This is where take it or leave it stops being a goal and starts being who you are. It's not that you never think about alcohol. It's that it's no longer triggering you in either a good way or a bad way. You're not performing good behavior. You're not suppressing the desire to get fucked up. You genuinely don't need it the way you used to. Your identity has actually shifted, and that shift is permanent. So that's the 4 phases: recognize, integrate, strategize, and embody. That's the pathway. That's what it looks like to go from where you are right now to take it or leave it. Now, let me show you how I've built this framework into something you can actually use. But before I tell you what's in my program, I want to tell you what it feels like to be inside my program, because I think that matters so much more than any feature list. The first thing that women feel is relief, not because everything changes overnight, but because they have hope. Relief comes from the weight of thinking you have to figure everything out being lifted off your shoulders. Instead of feeling out of control, you feel like you're back in control. You've got a roadmap. Because if you can read, write, and follow directions, my program can work for you. For most high achieving women, they just need a clear set of directions. I want to show you what a few of them have to say. I wake up to posts like these in our private community every single day. I'm 2 weeks in and something has already shifted. I'm still drinking every day, but I see it differently now. I woke up as usual around 4:30 a.m. Instead of letting my anxiety take over, I caught it. I said to myself, I'm not doing this anymore. I got up and walked around my house in the dark. It was so peaceful. I put my hand on my heart and I said, you're okay. I'm not upset with you. I teared up when I heard myself say that. I went back to bed and I fell back asleep. That's a first. But that's this program, right? I know I'm in the right place. I am honored to be here with you ladies. For the first time, I'm actually giving myself permission to just be where I'm at. I'm ready to live in faith, not fear. 2 weeks. She hasn't overhauled her life. She hasn't quit drinking, but the shame spiral is screeching to a halt. That's the recognize phase, and it's where everything begins to change. The second thing my clients feel is trust in themselves to keep going. Here's another comment from our community. Before I joined this program 6 weeks ago, I was drinking every single night. Last Saturday, I was at a dinner party and did the delay, don't deny method. It felt so good that I decided to finish my dinner before I had a glass of wine. Since then, I have had 2 alcohol-free nights. I know I'm not there yet, but this nervous system work is legit. 6 weeks. She's not following rules. She's not using willpower. Her body is just starting to regulate differently, and her behavior is changing as a natural side effect of how she feels. That's the integrate phase. That's what capacity feels like. And the third thing my clients feel is free. The kind of freedom that you get at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday when you realize that you went through the whole evening and it didn't even occur to you to pour a drink. The kind that you feel on a Saturday morning when you wake up without a hangover and realize you have several hours to just relax before the day starts. It's not freedom from alcohol. It's freedom from the thinking about alcohol, the planning, the justifying, the mental math. It's like getting a new computer. You're not all glitchy. You can make plans to go to a friend's house and not worry if you're going to be able to drive home because you know you're not going to get drunk. Here's another post from inside. I feel like I have my brain back. Last weekend, I was at a family gathering, the kind I used to get shit-faced at, but I'm so different now. I didn't pregame. I had a cocktail, but I didn't slam it. Then I had a water. I did make a second drink, but I wasn't feeling it, so I dumped it. That's a first. I suddenly realized I didn't actually want to be there. So instead of treating my body like a trash can, I said my goodbyes. I kind of expected people to be upset that I was leaving early, but nobody actually cared. I felt like a grown up, even though I'm 47. Like it's okay for me to just do what I wanted to do for once. I was so proud of myself. I am absolutely not the same person I was 8 months ago. 8 months. Alcohol is no longer helping her survive situations that she doesn't actually need to survive. That's the embody phase. That's what take it or leave it actually feels like. Not deprivation, freedom. So, how do you get there? You're going to need a trifecta of support: coaching, community, and content. Let's talk about coaching. Coaching is different from therapy because it's forward facing and action oriented. You can spend years in therapy talking about your childhood and your problems. But as I've explained, understanding why you want to drink doesn't make you want it less. It doesn't regulate your nervous system. My job as a coach is to reflect the distorted thinking patterns and limiting beliefs so that you can see how they're affecting you. You need a human bullshit detector. And I also want to be honest. I have a lot of board certified therapists in my program, and they tell me that they get more out of a few weeks of coaching than they have gotten out of therapy in years. And that's not because therapy doesn't work. Therapists can help you make sense of your story. But as a coach, I'm going to kick you out of that damn story. It doesn't matter why you're here. It matters how you're going to move forward. Inside my program, you get live coaching with me 3 times a week. Not pre-recorded, not generic advice, real coaching on your real life in real time. You bring what's actually happening: the fight with your partner, the work stress, the Tuesday night where you drank more than you wanted, and we work on it together. You need to understand that being able to take it or leave it isn't about changing your drinking habit. This isn't one habit. It's changing hundreds of habits that are keeping you stuck in a chronic state of stress. As a coach, I will help you deconstruct those habits. We will peel the layers of the onion one at a time. And yes, there will be some tears. But tears are actually how your nervous system releases cortisol and pressure, so that's a good thing. The second thing you need is a community. And I need to say something important here because this is where a lot of women resist. If you are somebody who has been keeping this private, managing your image, hiding how much you drink from your partner or your kids because you're scared of admitting the truth, I want you to hear me. That secrecy, that's not protecting you. That's actually exactly what's keeping you stuck. Hear me when I say you cannot heal shame in secret. That's not how shame works. Shame feeds on secrecy. The more you hide, the more power you give it. And as long as you're carrying this alone, trying to fix this quietly before anybody finds out, the longer shame will have control over your mind. Your physical needs are not actually negotiable. As a human being, you are hardwired to operate within a tribe. You need to feel seen in an environment where it is safe for you to be seen. And if you don't have anybody in your life that you can be fully honest with about this, if there is nobody that you can trust to say, I'm scared of how much I'm drinking, that is not a reason to opt out of my program. That's the number one reason why you would join. Inside the next chapter, you're surrounded by women who get it. High achieving, successful, they're keeping it all together on the outside. These women will not judge you because they're on the same journey. These are the women that you can have real, authentic conversations with. Talk about what you're going through. These are the women who will celebrate your wins with you, which is an essential part of the process. Just imagine how awkward it would feel to tell somebody you work with, hey, I thought about stopping last night after 2 glasses of wine. I still finished the bottle, but the fact that it even occurred to me to stop is a big fucking deal. Can I get a high five? So yeah, not everybody is going to get that, but that is actually exactly what you need to move through this. Also, science shows that the fastest way to change your mind is to join a tribe of like-minded people. That's how transformation works, not by thinking differently in isolation, but by being in a community that normalizes what you're going through and where you want to go. And the third thing you need is content so that you can learn the actual methodology. Most online programs ask you to sit at a desk and watch videos. That's not how this works. My entire program is delivered in our app in short, easy to digest podcast episodes, which means that you can have me in your ear while you're getting ready for work in the morning, driving to work, cooking dinner, exercising, or even just laying in bed at night. Hell, you can listen when you're drinking. And this matters because changing the way you think is like learning a new language. You need immersion. You need repetition. You need it woven into your daily life, not compartmentalized into a homework assignment that you never get around to. In the next chapter, you will have access to over 1,000 hours of curriculum. But I don't want you to hear that and feel overwhelmed. Think of it more like a library where you can only check out a few books at a time. A year is a long time, but we have a kick-ass onboarding team that will literally hold your hand, helping you to build the learning habits that will result in your success. We don't even show you everything in the first month because we've learned from our clients that the first major obstacle you have to overcome is the overwhelm. Even women who start off strong feel super motivated. Eventually, they feel like they're falling behind. They run out of gas. Our primary objective is to prepare you to deal with that feeling because that's all it is. It's a feeling. You're not actually ever behind. You just are where you are. And you may worry that you won't be consistent. And I can tell you, you probably won't be. But that is the pattern you need to break. It is the urgency and the perfectionism that makes you want to give up because change isn't happening fast enough. And what you're doing isn't good enough. You know, it's not how many times you get off track. Resilience is the amount of time it takes you to get back on track. And the busier you are, the easier my program is to keep up with. I have doctors, surgeons, tech execs, business owners, busy moms with little kids, women who travel nonstop, and they all love the podcast format. It's a game changer when it comes to being able to keep up. So, coaching, community, and content. That's the complete system. That's what produces the relief, the self-trust, the freedom, and the consistent effort that you need to make in order to reach the embodiment phase. So let's talk about how to actually do this. Investing in your growth via my pathway, the next chapter, ranges from $3,500 to $40,000, depending on the level of support you want. We have options for women who want full immersion in the group, plus ongoing private coaching with just me. And we also have options for women who want the complete methodology without so much community support. So if you want to explore what option is going to be the best fit for you and your lifestyle, then the next step is for you to book a free discovery call. And like I said earlier, it's a real coaching conversation, a two-way interview. My enrollment team will help you look at where you're at and where you want to be and the gap between those 2 points. And we will talk honestly with you about what you need to close that gap. And what I want to say is that the discovery call itself alone is valuable. You're going to get coaching on that call. You're going to get clarity. Even if you decide to not join, you're going to leave that conversation knowing so much more about yourself and what you actually need. Now, I know that some of you may not be ready to have a conversation yet. Maybe you just found me. Maybe you just want to try doing this work on your own first. And if that's you, I've created something called the Complete Foundation Bundle. It's 2 self-study courses, Rise for building nervous system capacity and Skills for mindful drinking for the practical tools. Together, they give you the complete methodology for only $444. But I want to be honest about something. For women who are catching this early, you've recently noticed an uptick in your drinking and you just want to nip it in the bud, the bundle will likely be enough for you. But most women who start with the bundle do eventually join the next chapter. Not because the content isn't fabulous, it's the same methodology, but because they discover that knowing what to do just isn't enough for them. The bundle gives you what you need to know to at least start working through this on your own. But the next chapter gives you what you need to actually follow through, to actually do it. The coaching, the community, the accountability, and real-time support when you have a setback. So here's what I'll say. If you genuinely are not ready for a conversation, start with the bundle. But if you're using the bundle to avoid having a conversation that you know you need to have, then book a call. And here's what I want to leave you with. I can tell you with complete confidence from my experiences working with thousands of women, all types of drinkers, this is 100% fixable. Take it or leave it is not a personality trait. Now, it may come naturally for some women who are less intense, less driven, but if you are a hardwired overachiever, then the ability to take it or leave it is simply a skill set that you need to learn. I learned them. I practice them every day. And thousands of women that I've worked with have also learned them. Women who were once drinking 1 or even 2 bottles a night. Women who were binge drinking to the point of blackout. Women who knew that if they didn't change, they were going to lose everything. Those women were able to learn these skills. They walked the rise pathway. They let themselves be seen. And now they have healed, which means you can too, but maybe not alone and definitely not in secret. I want you to walk away knowing something. There's nothing to be ashamed of here. Your nervous system's job is to help you adapt to your life. It's always learning how to help you cope with stress. And in the beginning, alcohol was just the shortest distance between A and B. It was readily available and socially acceptable. This is not a character flaw. It's biology. You didn't choose this habit, my friends. It chose you because you didn't have the capacity or the skills to choose a better option. I want to let you in on a little secret, and this is going to be the biggest brain hack of all time. Your brain is your personal assistant. It's like a search engine. It will help you get whatever you think you want. The reason you're struggling is that you haven't been telling your brain what you want. You've been telling it what you don't want, because nobody ever taught you there's a difference. Here's the best way to understand this. Imagine that you're traveling in a foreign country and you want to order a meal in a restaurant. And there are 2 options on the menu. One is steak and vegetables, and the other is pasta. And as you're gluten-free, you don't want the pasta. So when the waiter comes, you start animatedly pointing to the pasta and saying in English, "I don't want the pasta. I can't have the pasta." The waiter doesn't speak English. All he sees is that you are super dialed in on that pasta, and you're not making any references to the steak and vegetables. What do you think he's going to bring you? Your brain works exactly the same way. So now it's time for you to decide, what do you want? Do you want to keep thinking about when you can pour that first drink, if there's going to be enough, why you can't just drink like a normal person, what you said towards the end of the evening, what people would think if they knew the truth about you? Or do you want to know that you can trust yourself even when no one's watching? Do you want alcohol to be the last thing on your mind? Do you want the idea of being drunk to actually sound awful? Do you want evening you to be as legit as morning you? Do you want the capacity and the skills that allow you to take or leave alcohol? Take it or leave it, my friends. It's pretty simple. If you want to become her, you just have to make the decision that she is who you want to be and then start acting accordingly. And make no mistake, I'm not bullshitting you. Getting what you want isn't easy. But to be fair, getting what you don't want isn't easy either. You have a choice. Do you want to be able to take it or leave it? If so, here's what to do next. Book a discovery call before your brain talks you out of it. The link is below. It's not a sales pitch. It's a 2-way interview. We're not going to sell you something that we don't think will work for you or that you don't want to afford. My enrollment team will send you back to the bundle if that's what you want. Just stop waiting. You can't think about what you want and know. Knowing is an experience. If you want to feel something different, you have to do something different. And that is the hardest part of having a thinking problem, because you're thinking that there's something to figure out, when the reality is that this is something for you to feel out by doing something different. You have to take action when you have a moment of clarity, or else nothing is going to change. The mindset that sees this as a problem is not going to be able to solve that problem. You have to act against your resistance. You just got to make one brave decision at a time so that you can become the version of you who can actually take it or leave it. So that's it. I want to thank you for joining me. The link to book a call is right below this video, as is the link to purchase the complete foundation bundle if that's what you're interested in. Thank you for being here. I hope that this not only blew your mind, but it also changes your life.